Do the plugins go inline in a track, or do they go in a bus on a send? The answer is yes. This is Rock Science, my home studio in Newport, Rhode Island. Over the years I've been in music and technology, I've seen the tools modernize and digitize, and played a part in that evolution during my 9 years at Cakewalk. Today, Rock Science exists for art's sake only. It's where I practice my craft and get to work on really cool projects. Hello again. This is a tune that I am resurrecting from many years ago. It was originally recorded in Cakewalk Sonar back in 2005. When I decided to learn another DAW, in this case Pro Tools, I wanted to have some familiar material to work on, to get used to it and learn my way around it. So this was one of the first tunes that I exported all the tracks out of Cakewalk and imported into Pro Tools just to work on. It was kind of fun bringing such a big project. I mean, there's 40 some odd tracks here into a new tool, clean slate with nothing on it. It was kind of interesting to do that. The song is called Inertia. There are a lot of effects on this song. The lead vocal is sort of a thinned out telephone sounding thing with a lot of echo on. It's very psychedelic sounding, and when that cuts into the chorus is very dry, double tracked, almost like a 70s Steely Dan kind of vocal sound. I'll just let you hear a little bit of that transition. Last couple lines of the verse into the chorus. Works as designed. It's running on momentum. Inertia carries me through. Inertia turns me around. Okay, so that's what I sang like 15 years ago. I hear a lot of questions about where to put plugins in your project. Do they go inline in the track? Do they go in a bus with a send and all that? But the rules of thumb, to me anyway, are if it's not a time domain effect like a reverb or an echo or something like that, if it's something like an EQ or a compressor, any kind of dynamics thing, that would go inline, generally speaking. So that makes sense. Where it gets a little bit gray is with time domain effects like reverb and echoes. There it becomes more a question of just the use case in the project itself. If it's a really specialized effect like my weird psychedelic echo and thinned out telephone sounding thing on the lead vocal, and it's just going to be on one track, to me, I don't bother setting up the send and the bus and all that stuff. I just put it in line. In this case, there's exactly one track with that effect on it, so that's where it is. And so there it is, soloed out. It's running on momentum. So the effects in question here are, it's the Avid EQ. That's the telephone effect right there, just all the bottom rolled off, all the top rolled off, and a little bump in the 3K-ish or 2K-ish area there. The next thing, the psychedelic delay thing, is just the Avid mod delay with the echoes kind of thinned out with EQ as well. And that's it. There are probably delays that I would choose over this now for this effect. There's a couple of tape echo plugins that I really like, and I'm going to use one on something else later on here. Now, the other thing that's going on is there's a middle section here with a lot of backwards vocals, this big choral thing of backwards vocals. Those are all really heavily affected, and they are being sent to an effects bus with a bunch of gunky effects on it. There's echo and reverb and flanger and God knows what else, but I'll get up to that section here and just give you a little peek of that. That's all these tracks here. And you can see in this case I've got a send going for these. And the bus that is returning them is this one, and if we solo it out, there's all the gunk on it. In this case, there's an EQ, again kind of doing a thinned out thing. There's the mod delay, and a flanger. That's a fun thing to have. So a lot of gunk and a lot of tracks feeding into that gunk. So clearly I wouldn't want to put those three plugins on every single one of those tracks. You know, it would be a lot more CPU for no reason, and this is a much more convenient way to do it. So there's two use cases. One track that's got one very specialized sound that's on exactly one track. To me, I just put it in line. Here, a whole bunch of tracks that I want a similar effect on. No-brainer, put it in a bus and do a send going to it. So while I'm in here, although I love the backwards guitar that goes around the verses, it's just a little too loud, a little too in your face, and it's very dry. It's backwards, which sounds kind of cool, a little Beatles-ish maybe, but it's a little loud. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit in the mix. But I'm actually thinking I might want to put like a long tape echo on it with some wow and flutter just to get a little bit of psychedelic bouncing around going on that too. So we'll fool around with that. So that guitar part in question, it's between the verses. It's got some backwards parts, some forward parts. It's kind of spliced together. I'll give you a listen to that. There it is on this track. And here's the section of it that's before the second verse. This one's cool because it does this big slide. And it ends on the same note as the lead vocal. I want them to kind of crossfade into each other a little bit more. So that guitar is a little loud. So I'm just going to bring it down like, let's go like 4.9 just as a quick check. And let's take a listen to that. That's a much better blend going into it. I like that. The next thing I want to try is I've got this funky tape echo plugin here that I really like. I'm going to set it on a pretty long delay. It's like 900 milliseconds or something like that. It's going to be way quiet in the mix. I just want you to hear sort of a little tail of it out there. I've turned on the wow and flutter of it. And one thing I should mention is that when you're putting an effect like this, a time domain effect in line, like I'm doing here, you've got to blend it. So you know when a effect like this goes in a bus, you set it full wet because all you want in the bus is the wet part of it. You want only the effect. Here, since it's in line, I want some of the dry, I want some of the wet. So you're doing the blend on the plugin itself in this case. And so this is kind of the default of where it starts out. Let's just see what we got here. And I'm going to solo it. That might be cool. I don't like it when plugins don't have decibels. I think in decibels. I don't think in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But anyway, that's what we got. So let's listen to it all together. Oh, that's cool. let's listen to the one between the two verses. Better. We made it better and not worse, and that's the idea, right? So I hope that was useful. If it was, give me a like if you would. Please subscribe. I'll keep doing these as much as I can. And thank you for your valuable time watching this.